Ready.
Mm. So, mm, oh my God, this green juice is
What is that?
there's the cucumbers, celery, carrots, green apples.
Oh,
Uh,
I see.
I just blend it all together.
Going healthy on me.
Yep, going healthy, and it tastes good
Wow.
too. Mm. Also, kale and spinach.
Oh, it
Yeah,
does sound delicious. It doesn't look as green on the screen. Like it
I
looks
don't,
more yellow.
I don't know. My light is messed up. I don't know what's wrong with my light.
No, I just got shit from someone who watched our podcast that I need to make myself more visible because I was blurry half the time. So I turned the blur off. And they were like, "You can see Bola really well." Like, what are you doing?
Oh, really? Okay, I'm happy now because yeah, usually I'm just
Yeah,
like
no.
I'm playing with the light. I'm like, what the? I don't know. I had it good one time when we first started, but I've been playing with it and I'm like, okay, now I don't remember. See, it's off now. I don't know.
So yeah, I stopped setting mine up because it fell on my head that one time. I was like, I'm not doing that again.
All right. All right. Kick us off.
Uh, Hi and welcome back to another episode of Movie Unboxing with Marty and Bola. We are a writer, director, and actor, and an actress and a writer, and each week we dive into a film to unbox, how it was made, and what makes it tick, talking about the movie from a filmmaker's perspective. Sorry about my voice, y'all.
All right. So the movie that we are unboxing today was Marty's idea or Marty's suggestion. It's called Past
Yes.
Lives. It was
We wanted to celebrate women, so we were looking at things directed by women, which is honestly, it takes a little bit to find something, especially because we're trying to stay on recent things. I hadn't watched this before, so I just suggested it sort of not knowing what I'm suggesting, but I was
Mhm.
not disappointed.
All right, so it was released in 2023. It's a romantic drama. It was written and directed by Celine Song. It was
Hmm.
her featurette. It was a directorate. It was her first feature film. It stars Greta Lee, Teo Yo, and John Margaro. It's
Yes,
a
so the main character we may know from movies like Saint Vincent and Sisters, which
yeah, I've seen her face before.
Yeah, right. She's very familiar looking,
Yeah,
and
even Teo Yo, the guy who's her quote unquote love interest and that. I've seen him in a couple of Asian films. I just can't remember what. The her husband, the guy's playing her husband, John Magro. I don't think I've ever seen him before.
he
Uh,
was in Big Short.
I don't
The
think
Big Short.
I've seen it. Let me see. He's in Umbrella Academy. Orange is the New Black. Uh, yeah,
Umbrella Academy is amazing.
yeah. I've not seen any of those. Big Short. I've not seen that. Yeah, I've not seen any of these that he's been in. So these people are, to me, they're fairly unknown. Celine Song is a female director and a writer. So she wrote this and directed it, and it got a lot of it got a lot of rave reviews. It got nominated in the Oscars for original screenplay. It was pretty. It didn't. It was a good movie, but it didn't wow me.
It definitely wowed me, but on many different levels. Because first of all, and I think first and foremost, the biggest thing is that it did not feel whatsoever like a typical American Hollywood movie, and it felt like an independent film,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I absolutely loved that about it. It felt almost a little bit, I think it's because it was international too, like intercultural. Um, it it had the vibe of raw, like being like raw, unfinished, not the the wow that Hollywood does, you
Hmm.
know, but wowed me on other aspects. I liked it. It made me feel like European films feel that way very often, so made me feel a little bit more maybe at home with it, if
Hmm.
that makes any sense.
Hmm.
So I loved that about it. That was like that I loved about it.
Well, I like the fact that it was a romantic story, but not, when you say romantic, people are thinking like, oh, it's gonna be, love is in the air and, kisses and hugs and all that stuff. There was none of that there. It was almost very tragic.
Hmm.
It was a tragic love story to me. I felt very sorry for the guy. I didn't feel sorry for the girl until the end because I felt like he loved her more than she did. But at the end of the day, we found out that she does love him too, even though she was trying to like.
No, yeah, and I don't think it's even like loving more, but it's just the ability to sort of I don't want to say love more than one person because you can obviously love more than one person, but not in the way that they're trying to show it. It's almost kind of accepting that your life just went a different path and making the best of it. And it was almost like she was able to do that. And they had a great connection with her husband too. It wasn't like that wasn't there. It's just that it was very different.
So with the husband, um, I didn't like the way he felt. He was like, he came off very like, I don't know what's the word. I don't want to say simp, but more like he was, what's the word? He felt threatened by this guy.
He didn't.
No, he did because remember in the bedroom when he was asking her questions like, okay, wait, the first time when they met, and then she came back and he was asking her like, well, do you find him attractive? You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was that felt very awkward to me. Like he came out like that, and I'm
No, I
like,
feel like if you've been married for years, you should be able to ask these questions. I think if you are very insecure and you actually do worry about losing your love for another person, you wouldn't be this supportive of them meeting, of them hanging out, of them doing all this. He was very like cool about it.
you didn't
That
think he felt a little threatened?
I think that I think that he trusted in a way that the right thing is going to happen. If she was going to walk away, he was almost sort of like would have probably given her the blessing. That's what that felt like to me.
I think he felt not maybe insecure is not the right word, but probably everybody will use that. Maybe more like he didn't feel enough. He didn't feel up to this guy because this was her first love, and he was like, well, maybe I'm not. I don't because he was questioning if he was the right if he was when they were in the bedroom and he was questioning when he was asking those series of questions and stuff like that. He just felt like to me, I felt like he was coming off like maybe I'm not adequate, maybe I'm not the right, maybe I'm not adequate enough for you, I'm not enough for you. Maybe this guy is, maybe this guy's the one. And she kept trying to reassure him that, I love you. I like my life with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not leaving you. I'm
She
not
never
gonna.
said I love you.
Did she? No, she said no. She said like yeah. Remember when she was rubbing his face or something
Hmm.
like that? She
I
said
don't know.
like,
I feel like they were very, very focused on telling her past life story. They
mm-hmm,
didn't really elaborate enough because from what I'm seeing from where I'm sitting looking at their marriage was incredible. I mean, he's learned her language for her. They got along amazing. But the way they showed it, it was a progressed marriage. It was a marriage of many, many years. They've gotten like how do you say that? Like that like cheesy romantic honeymoon stuff goes away
mm-hmm,
and you're just kind of normal with each other.
yeah,
And that's what in this film in particular because they were focusing on this like longing, the like distance grows the heart makes the heart grow fonder, blah blah blah. They were
mm-hmm,
so focused on showing that part that their marriage almost came across cold,
mm.
but I don't believe that it was at all. It
So
just
what if they had inserted kids into that marriage?
they felt like it was a very healthy marriage. I think that that would work fine. They were just both very um career driven. They didn't seem like people that are like looking into that at the time.
Okay. And then the love the long lost love. Um, I like the way they made him feel out of place all the time. Maybe when he came to America, he felt so out of place.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When he, when he was waiting for her the first time and he was just standing there trying to, he went to the
He was so nervous and it was done so well,
Mhm.
I
But
thought.
he went to look at the little pool, I mean the pond, and he just like adjust his hair. He's
Hmm.
looking back just in his shirt and stuff like that.
He
He
was
just
nervous to see her again, but that's kind of sad because he did break up with his girlfriend before he went there, almost hoping that something might still happen.
But he knew she was married.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Um, so if you think about, if you look at like how he was and how their life was in Korea and how
Mhm.
then who she has eventually become going from Korea to Canada to New York,
Mhm.
um, it almost wasn't a story about like which man do you pick? It's a story to me for someone who is in that life position, and you may be too, be able to relate. It's almost a story about who am I now? Am I an American? Am I Korean? Like, where do I belong? Which way should I go? You know what I mean?
Mm.
She's emigrated as a child and then emigrated again. And it's like, where is home now? Who am I right now? Like, even when she's talking to her husband, she's talking about how he's so Korean. Like, he's so Korean, I can't relate anymore. But at the
Mm.
same time, I'm homesick for Korea. And I
Mhm.
think that's a lot of that is in there too. It's not even necessarily like I still love the person that I fell in love with when I was 12, because that's not likely anyway. But it is, I love the idea of home, the
So
original home.
so in other words, could the love story be a metaphor for Korea or the United
Yep.
States?
Yep. Existential crisis. And the two men are, who am I?
Hmm. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, so that's where I was going with it too. That's where I was looking at it too. From like, okay, what's the subtext here? And I'm like, when he said like, why don't you, when she was like questioning like, what's it like back there or something like that, she was just like, I can't leave my life here. I've built up everything here to go back to, even though I miss it, but I can't
Hmm.
leave my life here. I have a husband. I've built up a career. I have goals and stuff that I can't just give that up. That's why she told when the husband said like, "Are you gonna run away with him?" It's like, dude, do you think I'm just gonna leave
For
everything I
some
built
guy,
for a guy? Now she didn't say leave him. She didn't say, "Do you think I'll leave you for him?" She
hmm
said, "You think I'll leave everything that I've built?"
everything that I've built for a guy. And that's a very like, that's like a very feminist, like career-driven feminist statement in general, being like, look, even if I loved him more than I love you,
Mhm.
I would still stick with my career. Then I end up alone and okay, whatever. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I don't think, as much as it was absolutely, it felt like a love story, especially the beginning whenever they did the long distance thing.
Mhm.
Very familiar to me. I did that with my husband for a long time. It was very similar. Like, he's asleep when I'm up, or he's like on a train losing internet connection while I'm like, like we
Mhm.
did that. So, very, very interesting to see like other people experience this stuff. But it was very, very much so, I think, really for her to figure out. She's definitely talking to him, realizing that she's very Americanized. But then,
Mhm.
of course, she's not exactly as American as her husband. So
Mhm.
she's torn and she's kind of locked somewhere in between, you know? Again, like when she has her kids, she will probably teach them Korean still, that kind of stuff. But they're not going to be doing all the Korean traditions because she's already so Americanized. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's gonna be hard to like, you know, to like make the kids fully Korean because they're not around a lot of Koreans, and they're not gonna be around Koreans when they go to school. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So yeah, um, it to me, being that we're both from different countries and stuff like that, I understood. The one thing that I understood was that really touched was when she first got to America as a kid, and then she's standing in the playground and she's just standing on the wall, and all the Americans have played, and I just remember that. Even though
I
I
do too.
that was college for me, it took me a minute to like get my foot going with people, and people try, and people like were very friendly to me and stuff like that. But for the most part, I remember sitting in my dorm room for days, just sitting there reading magazines or
No, it
listening to
was
music.
kindergarten for me, but I was looking at her thinking that it's got to be infinitely harder because I went to kindergarten in Germany and I didn't speak a word of German. That was hard, but I looked like all the German kids, you know?
Mhm.
And this is so many years ago that I think having randomly a Korean looking girl, in addition to everything, that was probably another level of hard,
Yeah, that would
you
have
know,
been
for the
very.
other kids to actually include her and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I felt that. I was like, even though the school I
I
went
did
to,
too.
it was
Yeah.
predominantly black. It probably was easier for me to blend in, compared to her, but just her standing there and just looking at the kids and stuff, I was like, I
Yeah.
know that, I know that look, I know
Yeah,
that.
give you flashbacks. Me
It gave
too.
me flashbacks. I know that. That's why with stories about immigrants and or stuff like that, it touches a nerve. It's
Yeah.
I feel a little I know there's a show on Netflix. We're not gonna be able to do it because it's a series. It's a Zoe Saldana series where she married an Italian guy and then brought him back to the United States, and how uncomfortable and she went her way to try to make him comfortable, but I felt it. I was so
Yeah.
the story touched me, and this one in that way touched me too because
Yeah.
just the fact that and I wish the story had gone a little bit into like how she was able to adjust. Obviously you don't have time for that and stuff like that, but
You
I
know what
wish
I was really curious about after all of this? Her sister. Like you never actually find out what happened to her sister.
nothing
She was
about the
even
system.
younger. My
Nothing.
understanding is that she stayed in Canada, I guess, with
I
the
guess
parent. I don't
the
know.
dad, they didn't tell us about the dad, even though we found out that the dad earlier was a director, a film director in Korea. So we're just like,
Hmm.
well, why was he not, why is he moving to America? Is it just better opportunities? Did he become a director in Canada or something like that? Stuff like that. They didn't really. I wish they had touched on them a little bit.
Yeah, there's almost you could make another movie about this family itself.
Oh, I think you
That would
could.
be
Yeah,
interesting.
I think you
Yeah.
could. Yeah, just to show the progression of like when they first came to America, the adjustments. What did the dad eventually start to do? The mom was an artist. Like, what did she eventually start to do too? That's another thing I like about the mom is that when they were going to be moving to Canada, she asked her like, "Yo, who do you like in school?" And she said like this boy. She's like, oh, "Okay, do you want to have a date with him?" And I'm like, "Date?" And then it was the mom and the dad, and the two moms brought them there, and just let them play, and they were just watching them play. And I thought and that's what I was talking about. That was what I was trying to refer to last week when I was saying, um, something about when I was going like arranged marriages and stuff like that, we can't go back to that. But maybe something like an arranged setup, arranged meetup, or something like that,
Mm.
where the parents know each other, they come from the same background, the same values, the same cultures, the same religion. But like, hey, maybe our kids will get along. So we start putting them together. They go to the same
You
school.
know,
They
my brother has been dating for many years now. Um, a daughter of my parents' like lifelong best friends. So she's like a cousin to me. Yeah, I felt like she's family already. Like she's a cousin to me and they're together. They've been together for a while now. So it works.
yeah, I think
Like
something like
friendship families becoming actual families, you know.
it. And here's the thing:
But
if I was in Nigeria, I probably think that would be something that they would have done. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Mom and her friends were like, "Oh, let's just put them if
yeah.
they like
It
each
can
other."
work. It can also really fail. Um, But yeah, so that moment whenever they go on that date and they're playing on that like artistic sculpture, and then when they meet again, they're standing in front of like this big monument. And it's like that parallel I absolutely loved, that
Hmm.
parallel. And then they did the same thing at the very end where they flash back where she's basically the leaving girl, right? And so
Hmm.
she's going up the stairs and he's walking his path. It's
Hmm.
how they say goodbye. And then they like flash back to that whole him getting on the Uber.
Yeah.
And it was I absolutely loved how artistic it was done, how well the shots, every shot was so thought through. Every shot itself was like a piece of art, I thought.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the question, do you think Celine Song, do you think that was her autobiography?
Yeah,
A
it's
little
semi.
bit.
It's yeah, it is semi. I would. I it is. It did say it was a semi autobiographical, so that means parts of it were
Probably, yeah,
based.
probably the immigration parts definitely. It feels almost like her parents might actually be, because she did become a screenplay, apparently, and a
Mm-hmm.
director.
Mm-hmm.
And the way some of the shots looked like basically art,
Mm,
makes me think that maybe her mom was in fact an artist.
an artist.
I didn't look into that.
I would love to know what parts of the story were true, like real to her story, and what parts she had to like put in to just
Mhm.
give it a
To
plot.
make it flow, to like
Yeah,
give it a,
was there actually a boy that she left behind back, wherever she immigrated from? And then, did they communicate with each
did they meet
other?
again or
Did they meet
whatever?
again?
Mhm.
Was there any tension between her and between her husband, if she's married, and the guy from the past? Saying
Yeah.
did that come? Because I was suspecting something like that was going to come through, but it never came through because, like you said, the husband I think he had to really dig deep in himself to say, like, you know what, I have to trust this. I have to trust this and let's see where it goes.
But he did very, very good. Like he was, he was friendly, he was welcoming, he let her do it. He let her find out. It's almost like, what point is there to stop her from it? If she find out that he's just not the one, like, do you want that? You know what I mean? Like, say you have
Well,
a wife and she might find out eventually that you're just not the one. The other guy was the one. Would you
mm,
still want to be with her if she went, hey, I'll stay with you anyway? Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I
that's
think
what
he I think he figured out that there's no point in stopping it. He just needs to let it unfold and see and find out where he stands.
yeah, I was wrestling with that too. That's when I texted you like, oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff I would like to unfold with regards to the relationship. Because I'm just like, if I was a husband, would I feel comfortable letting my wife, just go hang out
Go
with
on
this?
dates, like it
Yeah,
was
going to
almost a little bit like that, right?
yeah, I'm like, I don't know if I would feel comfortable with that. I don't know. I don't, it's different if like this is a coworker and they're meeting, this is for co-working thing. This is a working relationship or stuff like that. That's fine. But this is like a long lost, an old love interest, even though they were kids and stuff like that. Nothing intimate had ever happened between them. But
No, but I think the part where they were younger
Mhm,
and in school and they were like Skyping each other almost every day.
mhm.
That kind of stuff can be a lot more intimate than like just physically being together, you know? They've
Exactly,
opened
exactly.
up, they've unfolded so many
That's
emotions,
why. That's why I
been
said.
with each other throughout all the like
Yeah, that's why I
problems
said
or
like he
whatever.
was questioning himself. He was questioning the whole thing when they went to bed together, saying, in the subtext I was reading from is like, "Am I even good enough for you? Do I live? Do I hold the same candle to your heart as this
Are
guy
you
does?"
sure about this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah, because he did eventually question, is like, well, are you just married because I was in the right place at the right time? Or would you have married someone else if I wasn't there that night? And I was like, well, but things, the whole point with in the beginning when they meet and she talks about the in you,
mhm,
that's the whole point, that these people are in the right place at the right
at
time
the right
so that
time.
you can meet and so that
Make
this
it
can happen.
exactly, exactly, and and I like how the movie started. Because we see the three of them at the bar, and
Yes.
then you can hear people talking and be like,
Someone's
"Well."
talking about it. So I actually wrote that down because I was going to say, remember when you told me when you're giving a screenplay, like the first 5 minutes, first 5 pages have to be like really captivating. And
Mhm.
this movie is does go very slow in the beginning. It's pretty slow. But because of that beginning of like, who are these people? Let's talk about it.
Mhm.
Um, it was almost like it sucks you in. It's like, okay, I want to find out who these people are eventually. You know what I mean? Like,
And the husband in that first shot, if you just took just that first five, first couple of minutes of that thing, you will be looking like, why are you doing there? Like
why
he
is he even
looks,
there?
yeah,
Mhm.
why are you even there? He looks so out of place. It looks like she's not even paying him any attention at all.
But I'll tell you what, I recognized myself in this picture, and I'll tell you how. Whenever I actually have like Polish family visiting sometimes, and we'll be like really deep in conversation in Polish because we hadn't seen each other in so many years. That would have been my husband. He would sit right there. He would be there for me. He would support me. He wouldn't understand a word and not
But
be
but but but
able
but
to
but but but
participate in
but
the
but, but
conversation, you know?
you said a Polish family member, not a Polish, not a guy
Well,
that you
that's true. I don't actually have like just a random friend from Poland flying in here to visit me. Like that's,
or somebody that you had a like a you had like a crush on back in the
yeah, that's
days.
weird. That's
See,
it's
that would be weird. That's
unconventional.
different. That would be if I was
But
sitting
she
there,
didn't invite him either, so you got to give her credit. She didn't invite him. He
but she
said,
did,
"Oh,
but
I'm
she did,
coming to
but
New
she didn't
York for
stop him. She
any
didn't
kind of
stop.
reason."
She didn't stop him.
I didn't think it sounded like she didn't know that he came there only for her.
I mean, what else would it could it be? He has no business coming there. There's
He
no
could have, I don't know.
he it never mentioned it. Never mentioned any reason
Yeah.
to come to the night to New York. He's been I like I said, I think he broke up with his girlfriend, thinking like you said, like, maybe I have a shot, knowing fully well that she's married, but he felt like
Because maybe he seemed like the type of person who was such a hopeless romantic that he just thought this was it. And the minute they actually stand in front of each other, the rest of the world doesn't matter.
and I that's why I said I think he was more into he had more his affection was stronger than hers. He wanted closure. She already got closure. This
Hmm.
was just more like um he needed closure. She
Was homesick.
she was just home exactly. She was
Yeah.
homesick. So she just needed a taste of home, and he
Hmm.
provided that for her.
Right.
That's why she said something about that little girl is not here anymore, but
Right.
take pleasure in remembering that little girl and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
she needed a moment to just recapture that little girl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so he provided that for her. She's already moved on.
Yeah.
She's been moved on. But he never moved on, and I think he needed this to move on. And I hope he went back home and got back with his girlfriend and married her and had family and stuff like that.
That he got closure from this. Yeah.
I think he did. I think that was why he came. And maybe he at first he was hoping that something could happen, but once he saw the relationship, once he spent time with her and saw the husband, I
I
think
think out of complete fairness for his current girlfriend, he was like, I want to have a clean slate in case something happens. More so than like hopefully something happens. You know what I mean?
I didn't I the way the story was going, I didn't think anything was gonna happen. I
Mm-mm.
didn't think she was gonna break her marriage up.
It's almost like they've already set them up as children, that he was already a more emotional per child and she was already a little bit less. And God only knows, maybe because she was forced to immigrate as a child and to change location and then maybe change location again, she has a little bit of less of a like a less of a cheesy attitude towards like love and romance and stuff, maybe.
Yeah,
Like she doesn't get attached as much. It just felt like even as kids, she was like, "Yeah, I like him," and they were like laughing together. But he was always looking after her when she left, and she just left. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. She just left, and
she
she
was already then, she liked him, but she wasn't like hopelessly in love with him.
exactly, which is why I said he was more in love with her than she
Yeah.
was. You know what I'm saying? And there's always going to be that I believe there's always going to be that in relationships or marriages. There's always going to be one person that has the affection is a little bit stronger than the other person. Doesn't mean the other
Mhm.
person doesn't have an affection. One person just, and it could change. One person can start off high
It ebbs
and then
and flows anyway throughout a
exactly, you know what I'm
relationship.
saying? And then as the relationship goes on, it switches, you know, who knows? I don't know, but you can speak more to that as being as a married woman for being married for a long time. But like I said, I think we've established that he needed closure. She just needed to recapture that moment back in Korea because she's missed Korea. But this also is is a love. It's a kind of like it's a different kind of love story between the two of them. But it's also a love story between her choosing between is it Korea or New York.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, she chose New York. She didn't. It didn't necessarily choose her husband. It is not necessarily she chose a husband. She said she said, you think that's why I'm gonna that statement, I keep coming back to that statement. You think I'm gonna leave everything that I built up.
Yeah, she loves her life, and
Yeah.
that's definitely something that I feel like she's the type of person to like choose. Because I was also watching them when they were like laying in bed together talking, and he goes, he's hungry, and she just throws out wings. Okay, cool, let's go get wings. And they get ready and they go get wings. And I was watching that, and I'm just like amazed that there is people out there that can just live in the moment and be completely content. Some people can do that. Like I'm always like, what? Because I'm always like my brain is always thinking, what else can I do? What can I do better? Where's it? Like, and
I
there's
mean,
people that are just
you
happy
th
and content. They're just sitting in bed all day, getting chicken wings together, and that's it. And they're just
but you think that, in relation to that, you think it's because you have kids. Because remember, she doesn't have kids. If she
well,
had
but okay, but that brings me to exactly that thing. Why do we have kids? Because it always feels in life like to me like there's something else I can do. There's something more I should do.
hmm
There's somewhere else I need to be next,
but
rather
then
than just being in the marriage and maybe not have kids because I'm just so happy with where I am right now.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, it does. It does. That's why when I see couples that choose not to have kids, I've always like, damn, what's the purpose then? Like, but who says you
Well,
have to have
see, and that
kids?
it might be that these people are just extremely happy to just be with each other. I, for one, again, I see it in these types of couples where it's people that are very, very career driven. I was never a career, like a business person. I could have never been. It wouldn't have made me happy. Taking care of people makes me definitely happier than that.
Expressing
And
myself artistically is what makes me
and
happy.
expressing myself artistically, which I
Yeah,
didn't actually think was attainable to me when I first came here.
I didn't think it was going to be attainable. I thought I always dreamed of it, but I never thought.
Yeah,
But so
exactly.
let's also look at the other dynamic of interracial relationship because they didn't really focus on that, but I think but they touched on it a little bit too because he makes like you said he makes attempts to learn her language. You know what I'm saying?
Which is huge.
He likes the
Most
food.
people wouldn't.
Does your husband know a little bit of Polish?
Yeah.
What about do you speak German, right?
Yeah, but I don't really like recreationally speak German. I speak it because I went to all my schooling I did in Germany. I don't really have too many friends that speak it anymore. I don't have like the urge. I don't have an emotional attachment to the language, so I don't have like I worked in German companies and international companies where use German here in the States. But since I've been just mostly a mom and then an actor, I actually just like barely use it myself. My kids don't speak it, and my husband would understand some of it probably because he learned it when I still lived in Germany.
Oh, okay. So, at least, he made an attempt to learn some Polish and stuff like that. So at least to connect with your culture and stuff like that. And that
Mhm.
way is to connect with you too. And I think
And then that's
that's
why you said interracial. It's intercultural that is like and I think there's like there can be a lot of very, very big difficulties in that. Because we are very different. We celebrate holidays differently. We sometimes literally raise children differently, depending on which culture you are from. And so,
I think that's the beauty of it. I think it's so
yeah,
beautiful when it's
but you
different.
gotta, but you gotta be so in love with each other that you are willing to learn and adapt. And for me, for example, I was very homesick. I left all of my traditions behind, so I'm clinging to them now. You know what I mean? I want my children to learn all of them. And but we still need to incorporate the American ones too, obviously. And so it's a learn in progress with
I
time. And especially when you
yeah,
have kids, it gets a little bit more complicated than that. But um I know, I mean, I agree. I've always loved mixed things. Like, I love learning about culture and languages. I have done it my whole life. So I absolutely love when people do it and when children grow up with multiple languages and multiple cultures and multiple traditions. It's amazing.
yeah. I agree too. I've always been that way since I was very young. I don't know why. It's not like I saw a lot of, well, I did see a lot of other, there were in Nigeria growing up, there were white people, but there was mostly like people from Israel, people from Palestine, there were people from Pakistan, people from India,
Mhm.
people, yeah, people, who else again were, I mean, there were not a lot, but you did run into them. It wasn't as multi-racial as it is in the United States. But I've always been fascinated with different cultures and different people and seeing mixed race couples together.
Yeah.
It's not as you don't see a lot of it from where I'm from, but you do see enough. You do see some to where you'd be like, oh, okay, that's a black guy and a Indian woman, or Indian
Mhm.
woman and a black guy, or something, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? You see enough of that. So I've always found the beauty in that. I know it's much more difficult because now you guys have to like find a balance. Like, okay,
Mhm.
where's the balance that we've got to find? But I think, but that even in same sex, I say same sex, in the same race, you still have to find a balance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah, because families still raise you one way and,
one way and stuff
yeah.
like that. So I, you know, I know that sometimes interracial relationships are a very hot button topic here in the United States for lots of reasons. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I've always found beauty in it. So
Yeah,
it's
where I'm from, we have a lot of Turkish people and a lot of Muslims.
mhm.
So, and that plus like the kind of regular Christian Germans. That was, yeah, there was a lot of like different cultures too, kind of mixing around.
Is Poland close to Germany, like geographically,
Yeah, they're right next to each other.
right next to each other? Huh. Okay. Cool. I gotta go watch my World War II documentaries again.
Remember the Berlin Wall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
That's
saw
like
you.
we're almost in Poland.
Oh, really?
It's in Berlin, but that's almost Poland.
Oh, that's
On
almost
the
Poland.
east side of.
And it okay. It explains a lot of things now. For some reason I just thought Poland was a little further away, but
No, Poland is middle Europe.
Middle Europe.
We're
Okay.
center Europe. We are not Eastern Europe yet.
Not Eastern.
But
Oh,
everything past us is.
yeah. So yeah. So if there was something you could change about this movie, what would it be?
Um, I don't know that I would so much change anything. Again, I would be very curious to know how the sister is doing for same reasons. Like I'd love to know she was younger when
Hmm.
she moved, so she may be less attached to Korea, does she not miss it so much? I would have just been curious about that. In general, again, it was pretty slow. Like the it just but otherwise, I mean, I thought it was absolutely beautifully made. It was very, very artistic. It was very focused on like the images and cinematography. I have favorite scenes of the Wazoo just from like look like it could have just been photos, just like the stills of like the stairs going up and him going down there, or like when the lights were in the tree and you just see the silhouettes of her and her husband meeting. Like
Hmm.
there was just so much beautiful, beautiful scenes. Um, It was very raw as to music. There was not a lot of music. Mostly it was like really just the natural sounds and noises,
Yeah.
which leads me back to the whole like very raw, independent European feel, which
Hmm.
I absolutely love.
Hmm.
So I couldn't do it better, I don't think, but it was I have some questions that are unanswered, sort of
Yeah.
like,
I agree. I would want to know what happened to the sister and what became, the life of the mother and the father too. How the so that probably would be like a sequel, into the story. Like, let's look at the story from a different perspective now. Let's
oh,
see. Go
and
ahead.
one thing I was really confused about in the very beginning was so first they move, then they have this chat, then she sort of breaks up with him online, and then she just walks into this house, picks a room, that's her room now. Then her husband walks in, they meet. I was so confused for so long as to what that place was.
So it was a artistic residency or something like that. She later revealed it, but I didn't know what it was too.
I was so confused when
Yeah,
she
I was
first
like, what?
walked in there.
I was like, what the hell is this? But
So
later,
so somebody's basically renting out an Airbnb, but it's like for artists because it's inspiring because of how it is
yeah, yeah,
and how the backyard is and everything. Okay.
and
That
that's how she,
confused me. That
yeah,
confused me.
and that's how she meets her husband. One thing we didn't talk
Yeah.
about, well, I think you alluded it to a little bit, is the way that they incorporated the shots of New York City and Seoul, Korea, and how they,
I know, right?
yeah,
It was
that
like a love letter to both cities,
to
wasn't
both
it?
cities. Yeah,
It
yeah,
felt a little bit like that.
yeah. So I think you see that in a lot of like when they people shoot in like major cities, they always it's New York, London, they always incorporate a lot of shots of the city, giving the city its own character as a character in the movie and stuff like that.
Yes,
I
but
think
they do it in like a very dramatic, cinematic way. And again, this was so raw. This was like a love letter of just an individual person that is like walking the streets at night. This is how she lives.
mhm.
This is like the little side street that's not the most popular street of New York City. You know what I mean?
Could you get, especially when you were in Korea, could you get a sense that you could even smell the city?
Yeah.
Like because you didn't
So
have.
again, that brings me back to feeling like Celine Song, it was just stuck between who am I now? Existential crisis, almost midlife crisis style.
Mhm.
Am I a Korean? Am I an American? Am I a New Yorker? Am I both? And she does in the end choose, she absolutely loves both cities, but she can't live in both. So she chooses one for her life, but that love letter is still out there for Seoul too.
Hmm. Yeah, so I like that. Now, here's my what I didn't I don't know. I think my thing is the pacing. I would have sped it up a little.
Yeah,
The pacing
yeah.
would probably be in
Real
the.
slow.
And here's another thing I think they should have done. This is probably my crazy filmmaker idea. You know how in the beginning, like two people, you got the couple talking about like what's going on, like are they married or who are they, the two Asian people, and who's the white guy to them?
Yeah, we never find out who that is.
I would have I would have reversed it when we got to that scene and like let the two of them like just have like a little moment where they're talking about maybe all three of them actually are talking about like who are these people sitting out there, because I could see two people kissing. Did you see that? I saw a
At
couple
that bar too?
at the bar.
I saw it when they went out.
No, no,
They
when
were
the
out on the.
no no when the husband and the guy were talking, you could
Oh,
see
I didn't see that. I
you could
saw
s-
a couple kissing when they were in front of the carousel. They were
no no
sitting in
no
front of the carousel. There was a couple
no
kissing
I'm talking
too.
about the in that bar when
I
the
wonder if
husband.
that was the same couple.
I'm thinking that's the same couple, and I would have reversed it like, yo, look at these two kissing, like, you know, just come up with something and stuff like that. I would have done that. But honestly, the story's very beautiful. I wouldn't have changed too much other than the pacing. And I would have loved to have known a little bit more about, like her journey as an immigrant and how she, how things maybe through montage, just shown a little bit of that and shown his life too after she left. Like what was his day at school the next day after she left? I'm sure
Hmm.
his mood must have changed because he seemed like a happy kid, got the little basketball in his hand, and he probably just doesn't play basketball anymore. He's just moody and stuff like that. I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have incorporated that at least, a couple of minutes in like a montage just to show like, okay, this is what their lives are like now that they're separated, and then we go deep into the story now as adults. I would have loved to have seen that. All in all, it's a good movie. I give this a 6.
I give it a 7.
Oh, so you're giving it a 7. Still in my 7. Okay. I'm
You haven't
giving
given a 7 in a while. You've been giving sixes only
Yeah,
now.
I'm giving it a 6. I'm giving it a 6. So it's a good movie. You can catch this movie on
This is
Amazon
Amazon. Mhm.
Amazon Prime, and so let us know what you guys think of today's episode. If you've seen the movie, let us know what you think about the movie. Let us know what you think about our analysis of the movie and what we think about the movie. Let us know about that in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And for next week, what are we watching? Oh, it's my turn to pick.
Mhm. You should look into women. Remember, it's still March.
The movie I'm thinking of, it's called Rebecca
Okay.
on Netflix.
Okay.
So there are two Rebeccas. There's one, well, the one on Netflix is the newer version. That came out a couple of
Okay.
years ago, but it stars Lily James and
Okay.
Armand Hammer or something like that. Is that his name? Um,
Army
and
Hammer.
yeah, and
Okay.
but there's an older version. That one came out in like in 1930 something, 1940 something. That's we don't need to watch that one. But this
Yeah,
one,
I just saw it, I think 1940.
1940, okay.
Yeah.
So, but the newer one is the one we're just gonna focus on. I think that one
Sounds
came out
good.
in 2019 or something like that.
Uh, I just had it. 2020.
2020, okay, yeah. It's
2020. And it's written by a woman, so
yeah,
that's cool.
I think it's a novel,
Direct.
so they adapted it into a
Mhm.
movie the first time, and then they redid it again. So we watched the newer one. I think it's
Ooh,
aesthetically
dark
very,
romance psycho thriller. I like it.
yeah, it's beautiful. I figured you would like it. So it's a beautiful
Yeah,
movie.
I have bad news for you for next week.
What? I'm not
I
watching
just
another.
saw a movie and it was incredible.
I'm not
You
watching
have to
another.
see it,
I'm not watching
but
another
you're not
horror
gonna
film.
like it.
What's the name of the movie?
I'll tell you next week.
Ah, all right, y'all. We're gonna be our next movie that we'll be unboxing is called Rebecca. It's on Netflix, starring Lily James and Harmon. What's his name again?
Army
Armin
Hammer.
Hammer. So if you want to go ahead and watch it before we unbox it next week, then go right ahead. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.